Gunalchéesh, so I wanted to talk a little bit today about S'ikshaldéen, which is the Tlingit word for Hudson Bay tea. Some people call it swamp tea. So I think it's really important when folks are out in the woods to pay attention to the surroundings and the things that are happening, you know. And when we go out, we always go out as a family. I think it's really important we always have somebody that's watching to make sure that our grandfathers, the bears, know that we're also here, because we share these woods, you know, and we're just here to grab and gather what we need, and we never gather more than we need. I think that's really important harvesting practices. You can harvest it all year round. But for me, when I was growing up, we were always taught that right before the first frost or right at the first frost, which is right about the time right now, that was the medicine that we liked, and when we wanted to harvest and when we want to share these medicines with our grandparents to prepare for the winter, to prepare for anything that might come and ail us. So I want to show you guys this. This right here, if you can see, is growing upwards. You'll notice the leaves are growing up. And this is the bog rosemary. It is poisonous and it is toxic to ingest. So this is something that, if taken too much, could really cause some permanent damage, and it could even be fatal. So this is a really important thing. You'll notice how closely it's growing amongst our S'ikshaldéen. So the leaves are very similar to S'ikshaldéen, but it's very, very important that you realize S'ikshaldéen has kind of an umbrella, the way that they grow. The leaves, a lot of times people say the leaves are the shape of a surfboard. So I think it's really important that you understand that the S'ikshaldéen, you'll see it. It sprouts up and it's growing down. So it's kind of like an umbrella. And when you look underneath the leaves there, you can see the orange fuzz that we talked about. And that right there shows you that it's S'ikshaldéen. Now this bog rosemary doesn't have that underneath. So it's really, really important that you pay attention to what you're harvesting. And when we go out and when we harvest, we're always saying Gunalchéesh to all of those things that are on our land. And growing up, we were always taught that everything had a spirit. All of our plants, our animals, our water, the sky, the land that we're on. So I think it's really, really important that we remember that S'ikshaldéen also has a spirit. And especially when you're taking those things and harvesting those things for medicine. It's something that the energy that you bring into what you're harvesting is the energy that goes into that medicine that you're making for your grandparents.
Mystery, who taught you to do this?
My grandma, Marcy's, it would be Marcy's great-great-grandma. And my auntie, jackpot, look at that.
How's it feel for you to be out here with Marcy right now?
It's great. I'm glad they're learning to do this and learning the differences between the ones that are okay and the ones that aren't, and how important it is to leave some for the next family coming to get their share. We don't ever want to take more than we need, or else it won't be there for us in the future.
Pinch it and then pull up on it. See how all of them are folded up like that?
Yeah.
Get all the way up towards the top and then just stop and shake it off in your hand. And that way you won't get the flower on top. And that's what's going to regrow next year. Okay?
Okay.
So when I'm going to harvest the S'ikshaldéen, I always take from the bottom. You know, and I take a few leaves from each plant because I don't want to over-harvest on any of the plants. And these leaves grow back. That's the amazing thing about S'ikshaldéen. So as I'm harvesting, I'm taking some leaves, you know, and I love to look at the backs of them, and I love to smell that as I'm going. It's just an amazing, amazing plant. And so once it's gathered, we like to lay it out and dry it. And as it's drying, you like to take out all of the impurities from it. Sometimes you'll pick up some stragglers along the way, some leaves, some things that are just out in the area where you're at. So it's always good that you're going through and picking those things out. For us, this tea it's medicine. So ha'atchayi, our food, is ha'nagu. It is our medicine. Take a couple spoonfuls and stick it into that grinder. Once you get it into that grinder, it's going to be a little loud, so here we go. Stick it in. Okay. So you can do it in a soft grind, you can do a fine grind, or if you like it a little more coarse. When I use the tea bags, I like it in a fine grind. So that's our medicine. So you're going to go ahead and pour it in. I'm going to stick that grinder aside. Once you get your medicine in here, this is what it looks like. Put your finger inside there so you have a large opening. I usually take about a half a teaspoon or half a tablespoon and I work over the container. Okay, I'm going to get it in there, drop it down. I'm going to take about another half tablespoon, stick it in there, work it in there, hold the top of that tea bag, and then pull the string. This right here, you're going to steep it in your teacup, sometimes 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how strong you like it. My grandma, she would always reuse these. She was a firm believer of reusing her tea bag twice. So I think it's a preference thing. But this is a really amazing tea, and it's a really good tea for the winter time. Keep yourself safe. Gunalchéesh.